So far in this series, we have covered the core building blocks of Python. We worked with lists, sets, and dictionaries. We learned how to use if-else for decision making. We practiced for and while loops for repetition. And we saw how to read from and write to files. In this video, we will learn how to handle errors the right way in Python. And before we close, we will step back and see how much we have progressed throughout this series. Let's understand what actually happens when an error occurs in Python. When something goes wrong, Python raises an exception. As soon as that happens, execution stops immediately. For example, if we try to convert a string into a number, Python raises a value error. If we don't handle that value error, the program crashes. This is fine in during learning process, but in production, error handling is required. Let's understand the basic structure of error handling in Python. We start with the try block. This is where we place code that might fail. Then we use except to handle a specific type of error. The idea is simple. Python tries to execute the code inside the try block. If a specific error happens, it jumps to the matching except block instead of crashing the program. Now let's look at a real example. We will ask the user to enter a quantity. Then we will divide 100 by the quantity to perform a simple calculation. In this case, two things can go wrong. First, the user might enter text instead of a number. Since we are converting the input into an integer, that would raise a value error. Second, the user might enter 0. Dividing by 0 raises a zero division error. So we will handle both cases. First, I will write one except block for value error. Then I will add another except block for zero division error. Now let's test the code. I will enter a string first to check if the value error block works correctly. As expected, it prints quantity must be a number. Next, I will enter 0 to test the divide by 0 case. Now we see quantity cannot be 0. Finally, let's test a valid input. I will enter 10. This time, the calculation runs successfully and we see the result of 100 divided by 10, which is 10. So now the program behaves properly in all three situations: invalid input, zero input, and valid input. Instead of stopping execution, the program now gives a clear message. One thing to remember, never write just except. This is called a bare except. When you write it like this, Python will catch every possible exception, not just the one you expect. That means even real bugs in your code can get hidden. Instead of seeing the actual error, you will only see your generic message. This makes debugging harder. You lose visibility into what really went wrong. A better approach is to catch specific exceptions. For example, except value error or except zero division error. Now your code clearly shows what kind of problem you are handling. This improves readability, it makes behavior predictable, and it reflects good programming practice. Clear exception handling is not just about preventing crashes, it's about writing code that others can understand and maintain. Now let's understand how finally works. The finally block runs no matter what happens. It doesn't matter if an error occurs, it doesn't matter if everything works perfectly, finally will always execute. If the file exists, Python reads it. If the file doesn't exist, the except block runs. But in both cases, the finally block executes. Now why is this important? In real applications, finally is used for cleanup tasks. For example, closing files, closing database connections, and releasing system resources. It guarantees that important cleanup code runs, even if something fails. This is how you prevent resource leaks and unstable systems. That's the real purpose of finally. Now let's understand something called raising custom exceptions. Until now we were catching errors that Python raised automatically, but sometimes we want to raise an exception ourselves. Why? Because our application may have its own rules. We will define a function that validates age. If the age is less than 0, we will raise a value error ourselves. Otherwise, we will return the age as valid input. Here, Python is not forcing this error, we are creating it intentionally. We are saying if age is less than 0, this is invalid data. Stop the program and raise an exception. That's what raise does. It allows us to trigger an exception manually when a rule is violated. Now it's time to wrap up this series. Across this series, we covered the core pieces you actually need. We worked with lists, sets, and dictionaries, the structures you will use every day when handling data. We used if else to control logic and make decisions. We practiced for and while loops to process data step by step. We learned how to read from and write to files because real data never lives inside your script. We handled CSV and JSON files, which means you now understand how structured data moves in and out of Python. And finally, we learned error handling, how to build code that doesn't fall apart when something goes wrong. That's a complete foundation. At this point, you can load real data sets, clean and validate input, handle missing or incorrect values, prevent crashes, write small data processing scripts confidently. So, what's next? Now you build, start small, create a mini data cleaning project, process a sales data set, read a CSV, clean it, calculate metrics, and export results. Then move toward libraries. Start with NumPy and Pandas. Learn how to manipulate data frames efficiently. Then explore visualization with Matplotlib or Seaborn. After that, step into machine learning with scikit-learn. Thanks for watching. I am Aksa Zafar and on MLTude, I teach data science and machine learning in a simple step-by-step way. Practice a little and I will see you in the next video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to MLTude for more AI and machine learning tutorials.